Welcome to the Truth to You Daily Podcast, a podcast designed for teenagers who want to learn more about God's Word and how it impacts our daily lives. Journey with us as we set out to explore God's timeless truth one day at a time. Hello, welcome back to the podcast. It's Wednesday, February 5th. And we are studying the book of 1 Samuel. But before we get there, we want to notice our memory verse of the week. And this is the final day for it, Psalm 59, verse 16. But I will sing of thy power, yea, I will sing aloud of thy mercy in the morning. For thou hast been my defense and refuge in the day of my trouble. One more time, Psalm 59, verse 16. But I will sing of thy power, yea, I will sing aloud of thy mercy in the morning. For thou hast been my defense and refuge in the day of my trouble. Won't you allow the Lord to be your defense in your trouble? I hope that you will. 1 Samuel chapter 13 is where we are, and verse 12 says this, Therefore said I, the Philistines will come down now upon me to Gilgal, and I have not made supplication unto the Lord. I forced myself therefore, and offered a burnt offering. Just a powerful truth here, and just want to talk about just for a second the idea of getting ahead of God. Up to this point, the actions of Saul have been very respectable. We've seen points of humility, forgiveness, grace. These are all great characteristics. This is the point, though, where Saul's confidence grows beyond the Lord. And can I just tell you this, teenager, that's a dangerous thing. Our confidence should always be in God. Our assurance should always be rooted in Him. Our stability should always come from who we know Him to be and what we acknowledge ourselves to be in Him. But Saul has come to a point now where his confidence has sort of grown beyond the Lord. And so he's gonna take action beyond the Lord. In short, Saul was supposed to wait for Samuel to come and offer a sacrifice, and Samuel delayed. So Saul chose to sort of get ahead of things to end up, and he ends up performing a task that he was really never meant to perform. And in Saul's own words, he says that he forced himself to act accordingly. Saul's here, he's waiting for Samuel. Samuel delays, he doesn't come. Very similar situation to maybe the children of Israel when Moses was in the mountain. Moses delayed, and so the children of Israel get anxious. They start stirring up a bit. They go to Aaron. Aaron gets anxious, and then this launches into a whole bunch of wrongdoing. The reality is, teenager, when you get anxious or you get stressed, you need to be aware that that is a very vulnerable position that you are in. And any decision that you make during that time can have great consequences. And so Saul's here in this position. He's getting anxious. He thinks that everything now revolves around his ability to act and to make decisions and to do what needs to be done. And so he takes up the mantle of performing this spiritual act before the Lord. And it was not his responsibility, and it was not his job, but he forces himself upon this situation, and Samuel shows up, and he says, Saul, what are you doing? What have you done? This was not your job to do. You've done wrong. You've gotten ahead of God. And, sometimes we don't look at getting ahead of the Lord as necessarily being a bad thing. I've seen teenagers make mistakes in dating because they wanted to push the issue with maybe their desire to be with someone. And so, 9th, 10th grade, whatever, they start dating someone, and then they break up. And then maybe after that they date somebody else, and then they break up. And that can just be a very dangerous thing. But there's another way to look at that, and that's to say that, well, you know what? God has someone for me. And as I am growing in Him, He's going to give me clear direction as to who that person is when the time is right. I see teenagers all the time get ahead of God in regards to boyfriend-girlfriend situations. I've seen them get ahead from God in terms of career choices. Maybe start chasing after something that they greatly desire without offering it up to the Lord and saying, Lord, is this what you want me to do? Only to, sort of switch gears in college and start pursuing something else. I've seen, financial decisions, getting ahead of God, taking maybe money that the Lord wanted to be used for college and spending it on something that was of lesser value and of less importance. We would again look at that and we say, well, we're getting ahead of God. And understandably that God is not necessarily against some of these things, but the Lord is a master of time. And He's got a plan for our lives. And we've got to be careful not to go beyond with where His plan is for us right now. And so, teenagers, be patient when it comes to seeking the one that the Lord wants you to spend the rest of your life with. Be patient with that. Allow Him to move and work in a special way and reveal His timing. Be patient when it comes to financial things. Ask the Lord, what would you have me to save my money for, spend my money on? Don't get ahead of Him. Career choices, offer up your desires to the Lord and say, Lord, I don't want to get ahead of you. Show me what it is you want me to be doing. I believe He would be pleased with that type of thought. Great thought here, getting ahead of God. Let's not do it. Let's be careful to avoid it. Let's go ahead and mention the teenager of the day. And we are praying this morning, or this evening, however you're listening, we're praying for Marissa D. So if you would take her to the Lord in prayer, I know that she would greatly appreciate it. Hey, thanks for joining us on the podcast. And like always, we'll be here again tomorrow as we examine another truth from the book of 1 Samuel. Have a great day.